Hey everybody, welcome back to Wealthy Sailor. Like always, I am John, and today's topic is my streams of income. But first, I want to address a few things. These are things that people have been commenting or messaging me about, so I want to just put them out there. Number one, if you notice, my background is different. I turned the camera like 20 degrees to the left. The reason being is because on the other side of the room, right over there, is an empty bed because I'm deployed and sometimes these rooms have two people in them. And people were complaining that there's just a bare mattress in the background. Now, to be clear, I have a bed all made up over there with a really comfortable blanket in it. I do not sleep on the bare mattress, but that was apparently giving some people a hard time, so I wanted to address that. Number two. So my specialty within the military was personal finance. So I would help people create budgets, create plans on how to pay off debts, stuff like that. The thing is that I never really specialized in picking individual investments. I would give people like broad plans, like you should probably get an IRA, but I would never tell them to, hey, invest in this specific stock. Personally, my belief is that nobody can accurately predict short-term gains on the stock market consistently. You might be able to pick one or two, like when COVID was hitting, it was really easy to pick certain stocks that you know were just kind of crippled at the time but will shoot back up. But you can't do that consistently. Timing the market is very difficult to do, and I just don't have the training or the knowledge to do it, so I don't do that. So please stop messaging me and ask me for individual stock picks. I'm not smart enough to know any of that. I don't have the training for it. I don't have the licensing for that. It's just not what I do. It's not what I'm interested in. And to be honest, I'm always wary of anybody who thinks they can do that. So I'm sorry to tell you, I don't know what you should invest in. I generally tell everybody broad index funds are probably the best, they're most diversified, and they're the safest long term. Okay, so for today's topic, a lot of people have been asking me how I've been able to catch up on my goal so quickly in such a short amount of time. So I have several income streams, but let me just kind of talk about them a little bit. One, I am lucky enough to have a very well-paying job. I'm a civilian contractor who deploys to assist the U.S. military in different missions they have. I can't really go into much beyond that. I also can't talk directly about how much I get paid for doing so, but I get paid pretty good. The downside is it requires me to be away from my family, and this is now my 6th deployment. And that's the main reason other people don't do it. I get paid a lot just because other people aren't willing to be away from their family that long, and they're not willing to work 12 hours a day every single day for an entire year, because keep in mind, we don't get days off or anything like that. We work 12 on, 12 off for 365 days. Consequently, though, we get paid pretty good. So no complaints there. So my job that I have right now is sort of the culmination of kind of 10 years in the Navy of kind of doing grunt work. The thing was that I was the type of guy that would volunteer for whatever the chain of command needed done. I didn't like it. I didn't always do it silently. I would complain a lot, but I would volunteer and just get it done. What happened, conversely, was that after a few years, something happened that I wanted. New orders came down for somebody going into a special program, and I wanted that. So I made my case. I'm like, look, I volunteer for everything else, and my chain of command let me get the orders. Those orders allowed me to get the training for what I currently do now. So it worked out really well for me. And then when I got out of the military, I just kind of got a civilian job that paralleled what I was doing, and I've been good ever since. So that's kind of like my primary source of income, is just my job. Now, the way my job works is that you deploy, and then you're allowed to take off for 50% of the time you deployed for. So for example, my current deployment is going to be 11 months. And so after this deployment, I get 5 months paid off. Well, 5.5 months paid off. When I say paid time off, they don't pay you your regular salary, but they pay you a pretty good amount. Now, additionally to that, my regular pay, my company has also been nice enough to match my 401k up to 6%. So I take full advantage of that, which also adds to my net worth, which is how I'm able to climb each month so quickly, is because my company matches stuff and I max it out, so I do pretty well there. Now, my second stream of income, number two. My rental in Jacksonville, Florida. It gets me over $1,500 a month, and that is including the price I'm paying for the property management company. The reason I have a property management company instead of just doing it myself is because I don't live in Jacksonville, Florida anymore. And honestly, the property management company, if they just get somebody to rent 1 month quicker than I do, then they pay for themselves. So I don't think it's a bad deal. Some people might disagree, some people might have more experience in that area, but I've always gone with property management companies. So to subtract the mortgage and the property management company, I make about $250 a month off of just the property. Plus, I get the equity that builds from property values going up and the equity that builds from me paying down the mortgage. So that's another way I help measure, and that's another thing I've been doing. Number three, I don't know if I like the way that turns out. Number three, my third stream of income is actually from books I've written. So since I spent so much time deployed prior to this, I was trying to figure out a way I could make money, but not, just in my free time when I'm deployed. And just kind of on a whim, I decided to try to publish a book on Amazon. And I didn't know what I was doing. I just wrote a story. It took me like 2 days. I hit the minimum word requirement, which is 3,000 words. I did a very poor job editing it, and then I published it. And to my surprise, I made $20 that month off of that book. And I know that might not seem like a lot, but I made that for relatively 2 days worth of work, and now that book has been making me money for three years now. The thing is that if you write a book on Amazon, it's there forever. So years and years later, it still adds to your revenue stream. However, there's a catch to that. When you publish something on Amazon, it goes to the front of the search for whatever you published. You're allowed 7 keywords, and it goes to the front search of those 7 keywords until somebody else publishes a book, and so forth and so on. The most successful people that I know on Amazon are people who publish every day, every other day, or every 3 days, kind of like what I've been doing with the YouTube channel, where they every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday they publish something. That's the most successful way of doing it, because then it keeps one of your books at the front of the line, and then it helps the algorithm push all of your other backordered stuff. An example is that I wrote about 20 books, and I took like a year off. I just didn't really feel like writing anything. I didn't have any good ideas or anything like that. And that was fine. And then I started writing again. And then I started making like $300-$400 a month every time I published a new book, because not only did it push that new one ahead, but then that brought a lot of my back catalog also to the front of the line. So I still want to write. I have some ideas for some new books I want to write, or, well, they're more of like stories really. And I still want to publish stuff. It's just that on this particular deployment, I've been doing school. I've been really having fun with the YouTube stuff and talking to you guys about what I'm doing and trying to assist you guys in what you are trying to accomplish. Especially during the COVID thing, I felt almost like a lot of people were almost being screwed or really in tough spots. So I was trying to lend whatever the little bit amount of knowledge I have on the subject out to whoever might need it in order to try to get everybody through a very tough time. Fortunately, I've been lucky, and my fiance being military and me being deployed, we haven't really been affected financially, but a lot of people have been, and it's been really tough on people. So that's what made me bring on the financial education channel. So I haven't had the time to write as much as I normally do, but I do plan on getting back into it. It's definitely a good income stream, and if you're somebody who likes to write, the only advice I can give you is the same advice writing and what you'd have with YouTube is just start doing it. I know a lot of people who wrote books or wrote stories and stuff, and they're like, oh, I should publish this, and then never do, because they're like, oh, it might not be perfect. It doesn't matter if it's perfect. As you guys can see if you've seen my previous videos, sometimes the best thing is just to, you know what, I'm just going to do it. I'm just going to try. I pulled out my phone, I put my hands-free set in, and then I just made a video. And then I opened up an editing program and did my very best I could and got it. Well, I did the same thing with my first book. I wrote something, anything, and then I just edited it, I went with one of the stock book covers that Amazon helps you do, and then I just published it. So if that's some sort of your thing, let me know in the comments below, because if you're actually interested in writing, then I'll make a whole video about like how I got started, what my steps were, different programs I learned to use in order to make it work and stuff like that. Okay, so quick thing, this video is getting kind of long, but I just want to go into what my plan for this year is. So I'm not really the type of guy that likes to surprise people. Like, for example, I know a lot of people on YouTube will do like kind of not clickbait, but sort of like, oh, did I just do this question mark on their thumbnail, and then you have to watch a 20-minute long video to find out what they did. I'm not doing that. So one thing that I'm looking at, and this is sort of my new direction, is I'm looking to invest in a franchise or a small business. Something I don't have to manage, something I can provide the capital for, and then something I can kind of let somebody else handle day to day. But that's my plan for the future. The reason I'm letting you guys know this is because if you're looking for other revenue streams, some franchises can be started with as little as $10,000. Now, I know what you're saying, $10,000 is a lot of money, and I know. But to have a full franchise package already done, that's not that bad. In fact, one of the statistically the best franchise to invest in is like office cleaning companies, and you can start them for like 5-10 grand. You lease a van, actually, you lease a lot of the equipment, and you just clean offices. You do have to do the marketing yourself, like you have to actually go and pitch to your clients, and that's sort of the downside to it. But those are basically my income streams. That's how I am able to accomplish what I can accomplish. Almost all of it is contributed to my income from my job. And I'm really thankful for having my job, but I want to point out that a lot of it is also the fact that I budget my money wisely. So when I make money, it doesn't immediately go back out the door. It goes into investments, savings, or paying down equity building debt. Well, anyway, guys, that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching. Give me a like or subscribe, thumbs up. Don't give me any thumbs down. I don't really appreciate those. But give me a thumbs up, subscribe, leave me a comment if you want. Anyway, thanks for stopping by, and keep saving.